I am here for myself to reveal what I said in the beginning, the original lie.
So that we can know what there is to undo. We can't undo what we don't know. We just suffer in innocence. Yes. Anyone else? What did you hear, Cookie?
I heard her great clarity and her wondrous acceptance of turning around immediately.
Yes. 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 No war with it. Just turn it around. And on the last one, she didn't move until it was hers. That's integrity. And then it changed to the next integrity. Until finally there's only truth. Nowhere to go. Our own nature lived. Anyone else? What did you hear? What did you hear from the work or the music? I love when you don't hear anything. That's fine.
We don't have a story about what we hear.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, over here.
In the beginning, Eve, damn her eyes, took the apple off the tree, the apple of knowledge, which I don't want anymore. Yeah. So when I do the work, what I do is I put the apple back.
Yes.
And then there's another apple.
Yes.
And I put it back.
Yes,
and I put the next apple back. And put the next apple back.
Yes.
Eventually I'll get all the apples back.
Yes, you're uncreating.
I'm unknowing.
Yes, you're unknowing.
I don't want to know it. I don't want to know anything. It's too painful.
Yes. Yes, it has to be painful if we come to see there's nothing to know. One by one as we put the apple back on the tree of unknowledge. Yes. Okay, sweetheart, let's do the work.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I don't like Playboy magazines and other magazines like that because they don't see what's really inside of me.
Okay.
They think you should be 34, 24, 34 or something like that with long legs and certain height and preferably blonde.
Okay. Who thinks that? Now, magazines don't think it. So who thinks it? And who, if you're pointing outside, who do you think thinks that?
If I think outside?
No, who do you think outside of you thinks that? Men?
Men.
Okay. You are probably right. I love that because it only leaves you to admire you. Good.
And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be responsible.
Right. You'd rather have the legs and the blonde hair, et cetera, so that they could do your job. And that doesn't work, according to beautiful women that I have worked with. They're exactly where you are.
It also doesn't seem to matter how beautiful I am because I look at pictures of when I was younger and now I think I was beautiful,
yes.
but
you didn't know it then.
I didn't think. I thought the same thing I think now.
Yeah. Okay, so people should see your inside beauty. Is that true?
No.
No. And what do you get for holding that belief?
Anger.
You get more spiritual. You try that for a while. Okay? You get more, you get kinder, you try everything.
Get funny.
You get, phony. So the turnaround on that would be,
I don't see what's really inside of me.
Yes. And turned around again? I don't see
what's really inside of them.
the tall, blonde, long-legged woman.
Yes.
I'm usually surprised when I do see something inside of them.
Yeah.
And
let's look at the next one.
Men in Playboy magazines think you should have a hard body, slim and young.
Yeah. And can you really know that that's true?
No, I don't know all the men.
Yeah. And let's just say that that's absolutely true. Now let's turn it around and see what else is true.
What else?
You can't know any of it. Turn it around and see what you can know. I
can know.
No, just what you read, what you wrote.
That I
read it the way you wrote it.
They want you to have. Oh, I can want me to have a hard body.
No, just the way you wrote it.
Men in Playboy magazines want you to have a hard body.
Okay, I want me to have.
I want me to have a hard body, be slim and young.
Hopeless.
I know that.
Yeah.
But it's still there.
Well, of course. And what's the purpose? You hold on to the belief because you get something from it. Of course it's still there. You're getting a huge payback from it. Mm-hmm. So go inside. You're holding it for what? For what? What do you get?
To be separated.
Good. Hold on to that. You get to be separate.
To have low self-esteem.
Perfect. Perfect. So hold on to that belief so you can have low self-esteem.
And to be hard on myself.
Yes, good. You're doing really good, Diane.
And I can get to hate Playboy magazine.
You get to hate Playboy magazine. Call it that instead of you.
Mm-hmm. Instead of myself.
Yeah. So you use them to validate that you're not okay, and that's how you keep your low self-esteem. And
I can also get to think that it's not fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Did she miss anything?
Yeah, that looks like that.
Yes. We don't like those women. And men. And men that like them. They're shallow. Yes.
She gets to be a victim.
Yes.
And not truly responsible for her actions.
Yes. Not truly responsible for her thinking.
And also not having to take risks.
No kidding.
Now, sweetheart, look at what you would be giving up if you didn't hold the belief. That's a lot. It's been your whole survival. Low self-esteem, less. Let me see. Should I keep it or not?
And also never can do enough to make up for
Well,
it.
I think I'll hang on to that. To keep it or not.
Keep it or not?
Yeah, to keep the belief or not.
Oh.
You see, we've heard the purpose for holding on to it. We've heard all the things you get for holding on to it. So, keep it or not. Keep it or not. When it arises, it could appear as a great big fat joke. Because of what it brings, it's like instant loathing of yourself. And that's a reminder that, oh, is it true? You see? Let's look at the next one.
Men should see the beauty inside.
Oh, duh. That's such an... Oh. Hopeless.
I should see the beauty inside.
Yeah, if you think it's such a great theory, you try it.
I don't actually. I mean, even in other people, it's the
You
same
can't
thing.
see the beauty inside of you. Why do you think we should do it? You do it. You be the teacher of how to live. How perfect you think it's our job so you don't have to do it. Look at the next one.
A man should not expect outward perfection.
Oh, my. Turn it around, sweetheart. This is your prescription for
I
happiness.
should not expect outward perfection.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, you're there. Okay.
The reason I don't expect outward perfection is just another way of focusing outside myself so I don't have to be present. And the way I attach to it is I call it less than perfect. If it's soft, I say it should be hard. If it's hard, I say it should be soft. And you do have a hard body somewhere on you. Your bones are hard.
Actually, most places.
Yeah, there's nothing that you could want that you don't have if you look for
It's
it.
really true. I am hard. Most places, just one place, and that's what I focus on.
Of course.
We just had a good comment over here. We do have a hard body.
Oh, whoa, that is good.
Another reversal. Another reversal on that.
Oh, good, yeah.
I should see the beauty inside of men.
No, the last one.
About the hard body.
The outward appearance.
The what?
The outward appearance.
The hard body.
Oh,
Outward perfection.
I should see I should not expect outward perfection in men
Yes.
and others.
Okay, look at the next one.
Playboy magazine and men are shallow.
Turned around.
I am shallow for thinking this way.
Yes. It's very shallow. I'm not living my big. Where is it? Big. Isn't that the purpose of holding the belief? I mean, what else does it serve? I mean, 11 years I haven't found anything else that it would serve. What else? You hold them. Why? I keep putting the invitation out there. It serves your misery. I think I'll really keep that one. Look at the next.
I need men and Playboy magazine to begin to notice what beauty really is.
Whose business is it who we notice? I mean, you won't even let us have a life out here.
Okay. Men and Playboy magazine should begin to love all types of shapes of women's bodies.
No. 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 Turn it around. Hopeless. Then you do it.
Yeah, right. That's really true.
Yeah, that's the point.
It's true because I noticed that I admire certain shapes of women's and men's bodies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was you. So turn it around.
I should begin to love all types of and shapes of women's and men's bodies.
And start with my own. Let me begin right here. This is the place. I'll begin here.
Because if I begin there, then I'll be...
Well, there is where it hurts.
Right.
I mean, how do I know I'm to begin here? I'm just everywhere I go. I'm the most obvious one. I mean, here I am again. Oop, here I am again. I go over there, here I am again. It must be this one I start with.
Okay. Man and Playboy magazine reject all so-called beauties. They should.
Turn it around.
Why should they?
Yeah, right.
I just, I got
Good.
that. I should reject.
I should accept.
I
The whole
should,
turnaround.
right. I should accept all so-called beauties.
Yes.
I refuse to read those, I underlined, types of magazines.
I'm willing to.
I am willing to read those types of magazines.
To see what else it is I have a prejudice about so that I can undo it. I look forward to.
I look forward to reading those types of magazines.
Yeah, Larry Flint, watch out. Look forward to anything that offends you. Judge it, inquire, turn it around, be free. There's only God. There's only God. There's only God. There's only God. That's what I see when I look at you, Diane.
Me too.
Be back, Nancy. Betty. Betty.
I wanted to say this to Stan, and I'm glad you came up, Diane, because it just was a great lead-in. I was so struck, again, when you did the work as when Stan did, by the beauty of the truth when it's spoken, and especially the beauty of what you don't want to say. It just is so beautiful, and every time I see you, get more and more beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Betty.
She's going to nail you, Playboy magazine.
I just wanted to say I appreciate you doing my work, and it's so obvious hearing you do the work that it's so obviously seeing you doing the work that it's just, beliefs are like clouds, and all we got to do is let them go through, and what's the problem? And it's just really obvious seeing you do it.
Why? Because I'm so ugly. No, just joke.
When you first started talking, I thought this is definitely a girl thing, and I'm realizing how much it's my thing too. I mean, I can hardly look through Playboy without being riddled with judgments too.
Yeah.
And it's like there's maybe a handful that I say, yeah, those are the ones. I mean, it's like the judgments are so deep and so pervasive, and really. Huh?
What kind of judgment?
About what body types I like and don't like. Yeah, it's so thick, and I see how I never thought about that, but just how it limits choices in life and limits for me. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. There's been times I felt so victimized by that myth myself. Because I feel so like the match that I want, the visual match that I want is so out of reach and so out there that it'll never happen, and I get so caught up in it I feel victimized about finding that match, and I blame this myth about the right body type.
Someone told me a story about one of my sons. He was invited to the Playboy Club. You want to hear this?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Playboy.
He was invited to the Playboy Club. And what they told me was he didn't find their way as similar as his way. He stays in the work. And that because he was quiet, that there wasn't a lot of attention. People go there, the idea is people go there to meet somebody. So he wasn't terribly popular. So here's the story. He stood out by the restroom, the women's restroom, where the bunnies would go in and out. And just for fun, he would stand there and he'd say, "Hello, I'm so-and-so, and he'd tell the truth. He'd say his name. I'm so-and-so, and I am, and he started telling them his whole truth, and they go, yeah, sure, and just keep right on walking. The next one would come up and say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I am, and I do, and I have, they go, yeah, sure. He would just tell them the truth, and they would just walk right on by. And I don't know where I went with that one. But
This doesn't necessarily get you a date.
and he didn't even want one. I mean, he wasn't doing it. It was the intention of just having someone to talk to. And seeing if someone would go, well, yeah, and I'm so-and-so and so, and they would have something in common. They would just tell the truth about who they were. And that was all. So, moving right along. Okay. So
that there was so much in the lie that they were this body that they couldn't relate to him as a person? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, that kind of truth is very difficult to hear. That kind of truth must be a lie.
It just reminded me of a story.
You know, that kind of truth is just too blunt. You know, it would be like it's just, oh. The reason I'm hesitating is, well, I don't know that he would mind at all, but, well, yes, I guess I do. It's why I'm not telling what he told, because it's his life, and his music has been nominated for a Grammy, and he has all of this wonderful stuff, titles and things, and success, and he just stood there and told it. And, hi, my name is, and I am, and I have, and I have. They go, yeah, sure, and just, walk right on by. And he was just, if you just knew him, he just stands there and tells it. He just tells the truth. And he was playing that night. And any more feedback for Diane?
Diana, I'm very struck. We really love each other very unconditionally, and I'm very struck with actually how much you already do what it is you say you want, and I wonder how much you do see that, or at least you're willing to do it with others. I feel like you're very willing to love me no matter what I look like. I've always felt that.
No, I am that way.
And so
it's okay for others.
Yeah.
What a lot of people do when they've been in the work a while is we just get pettier and pettier and pettier, just trying to find what's left.
I was thinking that this was a little thing, but it's a big thing.
Yes.
It seemed like it was light and fun, but it was really it's been very painful for me.
Yes.
My whole life.
Yes. So we get really petty on the little things, and then we do the work, and it turns out to be much bigger than we even realized.
And I also hear that you're willing to let it go. I hear that you're just like, what is that wonderful saying? One belief away from
one belief
freedom,
away from freedom.
Freedom in this. I really see that.
Just pass it over here.
You talk about being victimized by Playboy magazine type things. It's kind of interesting because I feel similar. I feel victimization also because I realized what I was doing, but I didn't realize how profound I was doing it. I don't know how to get out of doing it. I mean, I would use that as a way of keeping myself not intimate with someone, keep my way distant. I mean, their breasts weren't just perfect, and this wasn't right. Yes. And rather than looking into their eyes and melting, and I mean, there's certain and accepting the person. I like a thin body, something comfortable, that attracts me. Yeah. But beyond that attraction, if I found someone that I was attracted to, I would still find the fault.
Yes.
And how do you get out of that vicious cycle?
We do the work, And then in the presence of true beauty, there's nothing, no beliefs in the way around a body that would keep us from it. A body doesn't attract us or repel us one way or the other. Only beliefs do that. Only one that would hold beliefs as truths and not inquire. So you do this work and it just happens that you fall in love in the moment with the one you're with. I mean, people who think, I'll find the perfect one, we'll get married and live happily ever after, it doesn't work that way at all. At all. I love you, I don't. I love you, I don't. I love you, I don't. That's the way a marriage works. It's you. It's you. So as you undo beliefs, you just love the one you're with. And then, I woke up married. I'm kidding. I woke up the way I am. Literally. And we're all doing that. We can say that at any moment. All of us. You wake up single, perfect. You wake up married, perfect. We just do this belief. Just the one arising. When we're in this workshop, we talk as though there's time. And that's why the work is just so sweet. It collapses time. And eventually you just become in the moment, and everything is an illusion. Everything, because you don't leave you anything. And you don't even know you're doing it. You just do the work. And then you begin to notice you're free. In this room are sitting people with resistance. Some of the people that you have heard today that are like angelic in their flow and they're letting it go. Some of the feedback we've gotten from people. I think of those sweet, like Playboy bunnies and the models and the television stars and so many of them I've had the privilege of doing the work with. And our prejudice about their beauty is remarkable. And how we'll use these beliefs like they're beautiful, that is a separate, I want you, I need you, I love you. That's as big a separation as, look at her, she's so beautiful. I mean, either way.
Katie, what did you just say? What's the separation?
Either way. Oh, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful. It's as big a separation as, oh, you're so stuck up. It's a prejudice is a prejudice. It's how we stay separate. We don't look into the eyes and join there. And look into the eyes is just a metaphor. It's just a metaphor. When I'm with you, I'm with myself because there's no belief that there's a you. Because you stay in this work long enough, you learn to speak literally because you know what the truth is and you become just a resonance. You do the work so many times on paper and turn it around, someone asks you something and you're the living work, the living truth. There's so much about this work that it's just not told. Only people who stay in the work can experience the infinite. It's not the only way, it's just one way. But people who stay in the work, that's what seems to be consistent with us. My friend here did the work, and we were in Houston. I was doing a Texas tour, and she was there and went back to her best friend, her love, the one that could hear her, listen to her, that resonated with her. Is this accurate? The one that was always there, that had the same spiritual understanding, the whole thing. And she called him and wanted to share all of her wonderful experiences with the work and be with him. And he said, where's the microphone?
So he came over and we were sitting on the couch together. And as I was talking, he said, I think I'm leaving. And he had a heart attack and just died in my arms. And he said, he said, I don't want to go. And then the next minute, he said, I'm going. And that was it. And I felt the feelings at first. And then afterwards, I was looking for grief because there was a thought, a belief that there should be grief. But I didn't feel, there was no grief. There was no grieving. And for weeks, I kept looking for grief because there was a belief there should be grief. And yet I felt the fullness of that I'm the same as Ken, and Ken's the same as me, and there was no difference. So there was nothing out there that I could get that I don't already have. And it was just a very different experience for me.
When Zita first described it to me, she would say, I think, oh, my best friend, who will I talk to? You see, and she would reverse it. And can you remember some of those?
Yes. I miss Ken's wisdom. And there was immediate reversal. There's no way I can miss Ken's wisdom. I'm that wisdom. I'll miss Ken's compassion. There's no way I can do that because I am that compassion. And it kept going. Everything I thought that I had in Ken was me. So there was no difference.
Can you hear it? He turned out to be her illusion. And because she knows herself, he couldn't die. He was never there in the first place except as her story. And without the story, there's love. And when the body falls away, there's love. It's unchanging. Very sweet. This work doesn't allow you, it's the end of suffering. I hear all over this world now. And people who suffer, that know the work, are collapsing that time. It's collapsing. A belief comes in, you hurt. You undo the belief, you don't. A belief comes in, you hurt. Undo the belief, you don't. Asleep, awake. Asleep, awake. Asleep, awake. 2,000 years later, asleep, awake. Look forward to it. Enlightenment's in the moment. That's all there is. There's only now. You hurt now, heal it. The end. Were you aware of your hand prior to when I said, are you aware of your hand? Was anyone here aware of your hand? That you didn't have one. You didn't have one. Until you bring it into existence with a belief, it doesn't exist. You are your beliefs. On the other side of that, you're no thing. That's what's meant by I'm not a body. Without a belief system, you can come to know that rather than it be as a theory. And that's what we're doing here. We're dropping belief systems, and it leaves you as one who's infinite. Timeless. Ageless. There's no mysteries here. If you leave this weekend or this 3-day workshop intensive and there are any mysteries in life left, bring it to the front. There's no secrets and mysteries. There's superstition. There are no questions that are legitimate. Just another way of perpetuating that there's something that you don't know.
I have a question around heaven and earth. When I'm here and we're fully immersed in doing the work, there feels like a feeling of full expansion. And when I go back and there's doing the work daily, and sometimes the pull from the worldly situations and the feeling
in your mind,
right? It doesn't. I don't experience that feeling of a full expansion as I do when I'm fully immersed in doing this here. And though there's an understanding that it's the same, but that's not the full experience. So,
and how often do you write? So
well, it's not a getting caught. It's not a Velcroing. It's not even that. It's just daily being. And it doesn't feel like the attachment that this is okay and that's not. But yet there's not the full expansion, but there's not the Velcroing either.
So it'd be whatever you say it is. And you could write it out and inquire and see the piece that you are using to keep yourself from what you experience here when you're out there eventually.
The piece is experienced, and there is having to do things, just the doing and, getting this language.
Can you hear it?
No.
There's nothing you have to do.
It's not the doing to get the experience, the feeling. It's just daily life, teaching the classes, just doing the things that I do in daily life, my work, whatever. But it's not the Velcroing. It's just
there's some intention there of accomplishing something. Is one thing you could look at.
To accomplish the feeling of the expansion that is fully felt here. When I'm here with everyone doing it
like
day to day.
Even the word job or going to work or with your classes or your daily living, I can hear it over and over and over. And only you can know what your intentions are. Only you can know how much of that is real for you. To say it is like in and out, in and out. What I'm hearing is the limited information I have, and I know you're trying to give me all of it. With the limited information, all I can say is we are really wonderful friends and love being together. And whatever that is, you hold stronger and stronger and stronger.
Say a little more with that. What do you mean hold stronger?
Well, when friends hang out, we take each other on.
You mean our energy together?
No, our thought system.
Thought system, okay.
Like in the space of someone who holds the truth, who is it, the experiencer of it, there's no way you can get anything but that.
Right.
Period.
Right.
So you go out, what you call out there.
The illusion.
And you can get your old stuff validated back as you're using without noticing.
Yes. Okay. I just want to fine-tune that a little. Yes. Okay, so what I'm doing is...
You're buying it. You're buying the lie.
Buying the lie and getting caught in the illusion.
Because you think it'll give you something. You just slip a little, and when we're together, you don't do it or not. But not in this present.
Yeah.
Because it's not bought here.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
Right. So when I'm in the illusion of the daily existence, I buy into it because I'm getting caught in that.
You want something.
I want something.
And you want that more than presence.
Oh, yes. Yes. There's something that the ego wants. And the presence seems to slip back in the background a little more, and then the ego or the wanting something gets a little more prevalent.
Yes. Yeah.
So
we sit down and write.
But this is
and become new. Or just inquire where we are.
I think it's the inquiry.
Yeah. That's the one.
Thank you.
So Peter, on what about violence on TV? Is that like the dominance, that kind of thing?
I think it's the same. Also, there's a part of me that feels for other fellow beings that are being hurt. It hurts
They're being
me.
hurt. Can you know that?
Yeah. Well, I see.
There's that knowing. God is everything, but not that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
A little kid standing at an automobile accident when all the adults are going, oh my God, oh isn't it terrible, and they're vomiting and throwing up and oh my God, call an ambulance, and they're doing all of this stuff. Little kid looks at it and he doesn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not hurting. He doesn't see hurt there.
Mm-hmm.
He has nothing to project that. You see.
But experiencing pain. And
you're projecting that onto the body over there like it is somebody.
Yeah, but let's say this arm falls off or it's being severed. That's painful.
It's not painful until you have the belief that you're supposed to have an arm. Feel it. Close your eyes. All of you do this. You just lost your arm. Okay? Now tell me, when does the pain begin?
Oh, when the cut happens.
Not according to people who have had theirs, that have had that experience.
Then that's just my projection that there's supposed to be something whole that's now not whole anymore.
You're projecting what you think it would feel like onto form.
Mm-hmm.
And using what you see is their pain not to be present. And it's a big one with us.
Mm-hmm.
When you can do that, you really have the proof that there's suffering here, that there's something less than God, something less than paradise. Work with this in your meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Go into the bad news and see if it's so prior to the projection. No matter what the atrocity.
Thank you. It's like that's a new way of looking nearly at everything.
Everything but God, in reality.
Yeah.
While you're projecting all of this pain and fear and teaching it, I'm on the phone calling 911. Or I'm holding the one looking straight into the eyes because I don't see a problem. Or you could be there running and like your music, it just flows. It just flows. When you think a note's going to end, it just has another life that moves through it. It's the most amazing thing. I've not ever heard music flow like that. And that's the way that's your capacity to flow to another that appears where they have the belief system that there's a problem. Because you don't see a problem, because you're healed, the healed healer, you just flow like that to that. And in the presence of you, I can't hurt. And I don't even want you around. Bring me someone that'll scream and yell and validate that I should have an arm. So go inside and play. Okay. Thank you. So many of us just become walking number sixes. Just looking forward to everything, to all of it. It's God. And what we don't see is that. We do the work. And then we look forward to the next. Yes. No more fear. Just love. Feedback for Peter. Yes. Okay, question.
I'm in this controversy here with this thing about that as long as I define God, then I can't know God.
Yes.
And yet, on the other hand, we're saying that God is everything and everywhere.
Yes.
So how do we distinctify that?
You just did. You're accurate. Yes. You've done two different levels there. If I say that that God is everything, and I come at that, it's a theory, it's not my experience, God is everything, and I inquire, can I really know that God is everything? I can't know that. I've just experienced the integrity of a saint in that admission. If in fact it's my truth, if I really get that honest. What do I get for holding the belief that God is everything? I get to be separate from God. I'm defining God. Who would I be without the belief that God is everything? One with God. Do you feel it? One with.
It's tricky. It tricks me.
It takes an absolute purity. It will take everything from you, even God. You can't have anything but God. You can't even have a theory about God. Only God. Prior to all of it, God. Absolute salvation. Not a breath's movement away. Won't allow it. All the way, sweetheart. So stay in it. Who am I without my belief? New. So many people in this room, you're unrecognizable. Unrecognizable. Even your physical structure is different than when we met. And all we've done is ask 4 questions. Turned it around. Just like children. Yes, Jenny.
Thank you. Could you talk a little bit more about intentions? Because when you first said the thing about the lie, it was like it went by so fast I had to ask Tammy to repeat it. And she said it was when someone told a lie, and you said you projected that there was an intention preceding their lie. And I think I spend a lot of time thinking I know what other people's intentions are. I think even more than...
That's so you can see what your intentions are. If you turn it around, you can see your intentions, because you can't know ours.
And I have this idea that it doesn't matter what somebody does as long as the intention behind it is good. So if I reverse that, then whatever I do is okay as long as my intention behind it is good.
Yes, sweetheart. Yes.
But is that just a lie?
No, it's where you are in your truth. I would say, I won't hurt you. Okay, well, I can't know. There's no way I can hurt you. So for me to say I can't hurt you is insane. I do something to you. You tell the story around what that means and what that is, and you hurt you with the story, with your story. Period. I mean, if you're walking and a tree limb hits your face, you think, oh, I should have ducked. But if you're walking and I slap your face, you tell the story about how I did it. And I'm a tree limb. Your story about the limb on the tree is the same story as me slapping you. I mean, it's just story. So if someone slaps me, I don't bother with a story. If I want them to stop, I need to stop with my story. That's what's meant by turning the other cheek. Turn to the truth of it. You know, and if you think that it hurt on that cheek and you think that it's wrong, turn the other one until you get it, and then turn this one until you get it, and that one. I mean, even if you don't, you're going to get slapped anyway. One way or another.
6. It's like sixing it.
Yeah, number 6 it.
Then if I reverse it back to me, then what are my intentions? This question just came up. What are...
Okay, so if I have a story about what it would be to harm you, like if I think, oh, I shouldn't tell her she shouldn't wear red and white, I would tell her, but it would hurt her feelings. So I can't hurt your feelings. I don't have that power. You would hear the story about red and white and do a thing, and you would hurt you with your interpretation of what I said. Now, so I can't hurt you. No matter what I say or do, I cannot hurt you. Your story hurts you. Okay, now, if I have the belief that I could hurt your feelings by telling you about wearing red or white, then I don't tell you that because I hurt me when I do that. Can you hear this? Yes. No one can hurt. There's no one outside of you. Just your story coming back at you.
So without,
just a reflection.
Without the belief that I think I could hurt somebody, it wouldn't matter what my intention is.
No. I could walk up to you and say, oh, Jen, red and white, don't do it. You know? And I am fine here, and you could go off doing a miserable routine inside of you, and I wouldn't even know it because I came from out of harm. So there's no pain here. That's how another person cannot hurt another person. There's nothing you can do to hurt me. There's nothing I have ever done to hurt anyone. And this is the best news because it says you've been innocent, that you're innocent, and so is the whole world. That there's no guilt. There's only one perpetrator. It's you in your innocence. That's it. Yes?
There's a analogy where a boatman crosses a river and it's kind of dark, and all of a sudden he sees a boat coming against his boat and runs right into his boat, and he yells and just is mad about this other boat, and in his anger he doesn't really see that there is nobody in the other boat, and like as if there was somebody else out there that could hurt, but there's nobody in it.
Yes. That is the story. I hurt me, and it turned out to be just another illusion. Mm-hmm. And it always is. Mm-hmm. It always is. It's literal. There's no one out there except your story. I am your story. You think I'm wonderful? How does it feel? You think I'm terrible? How does it feel?
Katie, can I say one more thing to just clarify? Was then it really got me because what I realized so much of my life has just been about not hurting other people's feelings. I spend so much time worrying about that. So then did I just create intentions as a way of justifying saying whatever's there for me to say? So that if I have some story about an intention, if I do it out of love, then it's okay?
The awareness is I'm not going to tell you about wearing red and white because I hurt me when I do that. That's all. Because if I think I should tell you for your own good, I'm really insane. What I'm going to tell you, I need to tell me and skip the you part and tell me for my own good. Can you hear it? If you want me to run it by, always ask. If I think that you should be kind, I need to be kind. It's that simple. You shouldn't be kind. That's my theory. Why should you have to live out my theory? I can't know what your best good is. Can I know my own? And worrying about how you should live in kindness is perfect. That way I don't have to be present. I can just go through life being your savior and lose my own self. And haven't you noticed no one listens? I mean, there's a clue.
Katie, even if it's not a judgment,
you listen.
Even if it's not a judgment, though, if say I'm in a relationship and I feel that I need to move on, or I want to move on. So it's not a judgment about that person. It's just something I need to do. And if I'm worried about hurting their feelings and I don't do it,
then you're hurting you.
Yeah.
Any reason you would not do that, it would be like to tell him my truth would hurt him. Can I really know that? No. I can't know that. I don't have the power to hurt him. So, with Paul, I just love, I don't know. It's the old story where he'd say, "Do you love me?" And I'd say, "No." It was honest. I couldn't find it. And then 5 minutes later, I'd say, "I love you now." My truth is, I do, I don't, I do, I don't, I do, I don't. It's about awareness. No, excuse me, I love you all the time. No, that's not my truth. I love you when you give me what I want. I'm clear about that. And I'm one to be trusted. He's living with someone who's clear, not nice. Someone who doesn't substitute kindness for truth. Truth is kindest. But I don't tell truth for your own good. You see? I would be insane to think that I could say something that would serve you. I wouldn't do that to me. Okay. Yes, honey.
I really connected with your story, and what I've got particularly this morning doing my work was the ingratitude for everything that I really have. And I've seen in the last 3 months where I've moved more into a space of gratitude how incredible my life has become. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Yes. Thank you, sweetheart.
I've had this question about decision making. If everything is God and there are no preferences and everything is equal, then what would make somebody make a decision, for example, to take a job in a different city or something like that? And I know you're supposed to listen to the still small voice, but what if your heart tells you to go and not to go?
Well, I have an expression. You need to make a decision. If you turn left, the worst that can happen to you is a belief. Now, if you choose to turn right, the worst that could happen to you is a belief. And if you choose to stay where you are, the worst that can happen to you is a belief.
So how do you make a decision?
That's it. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter? You just go spontaneously with
You're
what...
going to tell about how this was right or wrong, or you're going to tell about how this was right or wrong. You're going to say how they were both right or wrong.
So
that's it.
Things don't really happen. You just appear to be making a decision, and actually it's making you?
That's very well said. You think you're doing it, it's doing you. You're just narrating it. You're just telling the story about how you are making the decision. Without the story, just enjoy the left and the right and the stillness of it. Yeah.
So you don't let your mind get caught up in pros and cons and that kind of thing.
I don't even know how to answer that question. I don't think any of us let anything. I just do the work. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, Angel.
I was thinking about people saying earlier about how upset they were about people dying. And I remember being about 4 or 5 and thinking, what if my parents died? And I remember thinking at the time, what a relief. And I remember being kind of disturbed thinking that. Like there must be something the matter with me. And I would check back on that every once in a while, but it's always been there. It's like...
Yes. I love that you've held it.
It's like,
what a relief is an integrity. It comes from... By integrity, what do I mean by that? It's worrying about their death. It's so painful. It would be easier if they just died. Because this is so terrible. I'm living their, to say I'm living their death all the time can't really be heard. But the terror that we experience and the belief that they shouldn't die, or that it wouldn't be okay if they died, that terror, it's better that they just die so I can see anything that would happen after that isn't as painful as what I'm living.
I just thought it was an interesting contrast. I mean, I was feeling bad for not feeling bad.
Yeah.
And the second thing I was thinking is, recently, and more, people come up to me and they say, "Hey, how are you?" And the only response that keeps coming up is, "I'm a beautiful man in a beautiful world."
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter what the story is at the time. Yeah. The answer is always the same.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I have some confusion about you say narrating a belief, and then my belief about creating things, creating my reality.
That's the narration. I mean, it's already been created, and it's not what you are is appears not to be enough. And that's just silliness. It's already been created, and to think you're creating it is nothing more than narrating movement. Mm-hmm. You're doing the story of movement and what it is and where you're going and who they are. Mm-hmm. That there's a they in the first place.
I kind of would like to come up and do the work with you.
Let's do it.
At the same time, it feels like you have been taking the carpet out already. So it's like...
what we do here is collapse time, millions of years. You can start the work, and by the time you are just a little way through it, all the rest seems like silliness.
Yeah, that's the way it feels. Going out there feels
and you go out into the world, and what happens is you see it differently because what you left here, what you undid, doesn't attach. And you notice, like we're hearing for so many people in the work here, you notice that you don't suffer anymore. And when you do, you undo it, and then you notice that you don't suffer anymore.
Yeah. Just sitting here, for all this time, it's like it's done already.
Yes.
Let's try this one. Thank you, Katie.
Oh, Peter. Yeah.
I come here many times.
Yeah. That's what friends do. I have one of my sons, Ross. He went through a period, I don't know if he still does it, but when he sees someone in need, he lives in Santa Monica, and when he sees someone in need, or if he's at like Disneyland, I think you get to see him do this a lot, and he sees a little kid that's wanting something and doesn't have the money, or someone that's hungry, all in his perception. He'll reach down and he'll have money in his hand from his pocket, and he'll reach down on the ground and he'll say, "You dropped this, man," and he just keeps on walking. He'll say, "I think you dropped this," or whatever his thing is, and I watch him, and it's just amazing to watch how he gives himself his heart's desire and doesn't get found out except for his mother's mouth. So fine. What he says is, "I really like me when I do that." Yeah. And that was the Christmas present he gives him for Christmas. He goes out and makes it a point to give him that, and where no one knows except for his mother's loud mouth.
I resent God for putting so much misery to my childhood during World War II.
Yes.
Making me a refugee.
Yes.
Living in camps.
Yes.
And having to walk without being strong enough.
Yes, sweetheart. Now, is it true that you had to walk?
Yes.
Is it really true? You wanted something, that's why you kept walking. You didn't have to walk. You wanted something.
I wanted
Can you
to
hear
survive.
This? Yes. Now I'll ask you again, is it true you had to walk?
I could have lied down.
Yes, that's truer. You wanted something. Fear is two things. You're not going to get something, or you think you're going to lose something. That's it, the end. That's it. How simple is that? That's it. That's all.
It's simple. I wanted to survive. I walked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you wanted something. You didn't have to walk, sweetheart. Isn't that fine to know? You walked for you. No one made you. All the way. Yes. Your love. And I want the whole world to help me. It was me. God didn't give you life, you did. And in the experience of knowing that, now God and I are one. Let's read that whole thing turned around.
I resent me for putting so much misery to my childhood.
Yes. Your story about how that wasn't okay is how you put you in prison camps. And in a world war. It's a mind war. Just like you didn't have to walk. The rest of it was just an illusion also. Let's keep reading.
I resent me for putting so much misery to my childhood during World War II.
Yes.
Making me a refugee.
Yes.
And making me live in camps.
Yes.
And making me walk.
Yes.
When I wasn't strong enough.
Yes. Now, you weren't strong enough, is it true?
No, I wasn't.
No. Not true. You're perfectly strong enough.
It's true.
Yes. Isn't it wonderful to step out of refugee camp into freedom?
So easy?
Today, so easy. Yeah. Now is good. It's enough. It's enough refugee camp. We do it from here. From that chair, we're free. From wherever we are.
Right.
That easy. The truth will set you free. It's literal, isn't it? You know, the only complaint I've ever heard about the work is that it's too simple.
I had that the first night when I came here. I said that to Hanya, this is too simple.
Yeah. That's why I say adults can't play. Only children can play. Yes. I love that you're a child. Let's look at the next one.
I resent my mother for emphasizing all the time that life is just suffering.
Oh my, let's turn that one around.
Yeah. I resent myself for emphasizing all the time that life is just suffering.
Yes. You have to hold up the illusion that someone made you walk.
Yeah. That's true. I do that with that.
Yeah, I have to hold up the illusion that it was the war. No, it was the war. It was the war about the war that hurt.
True.
Yes.
I need to blow my nose.
Is it true?
Yes. I feel better when I do that.
Yes, that's truer. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it goes on and on like that.
Yes. But, yes.
So
eventually,
we
I
should
say
just
we
wait.
bore ourselves to death.
Yes. We could stop here.
Let's continue, sweetheart. We want every little corner.
So I resent God for allowing suffering to be there at all.
Turned around?
I resent myself for allowing suffering to be there at all.
Yes. And now you can do that. Just drop the resentment part, and when you experience you suffer, do the work.
Yeah.
Resentment isn't something we need to get us into the work anymore. We just go, oh, and we do the work. I look forward to all this pain. It's time to do the work. Joy, joy, win, win.
So, I resent my father for molesting me when I was a child.
Yes. Turned around.
I resent myself for molesting me when I was a child.
Yes. Molesting me with the belief that he should not molest me. Did you say no?
No.
You didn't
So
ask?
I said yes. I did that.
So read it reversed again. Yeah, you did that. You didn't ask.
I resent myself for molesting myself as a child.
Yes. You didn't ask. And you wanted something. That's why you didn't ask. What did you want? What did you want from him?
I wanted to be close to him.
Yes. So a clear child would say, Father, this hurts, and I want to be close to you. What do you suggest?
I wasn't clear.
No, you're still a child. Get clear now. When someone comes to you and they want something from you, because you've done the work, you'll have the truth instead of putting your body through, or rather than putting yourself through the torment of it. You'll be clear. That's what this work is about. How do you molest you? How do you say yes when you mean no? You want something. And a whole lot of you as children were incested, molested, over and over and over because you wanted something. I love that you're here today. You know, what was it that you wanted? You see that you weren't able to express, and you said yes because you were afraid you were not going to get what you wanted. That's the lie. You molest you when you do that.
Well, that's the last one.
You know, I'm your father, and I don't know how to do it either.
Say that again.
I'm your father, and I don't know how to get close to you either. That's all I want, too. We have it in common. We're just clumsy children here not knowing how to do it. I mean, if you don't know, chances are I don't either. I mean, that's all sex is anyway. I want to get close to you, and I don't know how. So we just get bodies, and we pound them, and we touch them, and we do all this stuff, and it never works. We call orgasm it, you know. So it just doesn't work. You know, it's like a Band-Aid. And we really like sex because we're really into it. We're out of our minds. We hit that space between thoughts. So we really like it. But if we use it for that, not even knowing it, eventually we think all the way through it. We're looking at our watch. We go, oh, when is he finished? And we're doing all of this stuff, you know. We have all kinds of funny ways. But eventually every Band-Aid stops working. And we just ooze out. Only the truth can set us free. Only the truth can stop the pain. Only the truth can get close. And the truth is, I love you. I want to get close to you, and this hurts. I want to do this another way. What do you suggest?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I resent God to allow life to be so chaotic.
Turned around.
I resent myself to allow
my mind. To allow my mind.
I resent my mind.
I resent myself.
Myself to allow my mind to be so chaotic.
Yeah. So I look forward to my mind being chaotic. That's number 6, so that I can sit down and do the work and straighten it out. Your mind has been like World War II. I worked with 2 women who had been in the war, and they were little bitty children, and they lost their parents, and there were just these 3 little bitty girls, and they would hold hands and try to survive and find things to eat, and no parents, no relatives, and just going through where the bombs had gone off, the whole thing, and they were there in their 70s. Maybe early 80s, and they were going back to Germany for the first time from their childhood, and we did the work. And it was this hopeless sadness that turned into just like that. And so because then I talked to them doing the work again when they had come back from Germany. And what they saw in Germany was not sadness anymore. They saw their home from the eyes of a child. And they got to go every place that they could not bear to go, and it was the extreme opposite. It was just very sweet. They were free from the belief. Yeah.
I want my mind to stay conscious when I die.
Hopeless.
I want my mind to stay conscious now.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
To say I want to be conscious in 10 minutes is hopeless. I'll just be conscious now. Can you see how time collapses? Everything I want up here, I just have now. In truth, now. Everything we ever wanted, now.
It's really easy. Yeah.
Yes.
Simple.
And the next one?
My body should be without pain and vibrant.
Hopeless? Put the word mind on it.
My mind should be without pain and vibrant.
Yes, honey. Because when your mind hits the lie, the illusion, if you don't inquire, then that's, it's pain and violence. To let you know that you need to go back up to the mind and get honest. Inquire.
God should provide happiness and contentment for everyone at any moment.
Hopeless. Turn it around. What I say is, you think it's so easy, you try it. Yeah. And the truth is, God already has, but when we're in that belief, we don't have the awareness of it. So turn it around.
So I use my mind?
No,
I should provide happiness and contentment for everyone at any moment.
Yeah.
For me?
For you, for your sake.
Yeah. For my sake.
Yes.
At any moment. For everyone.
And if it's not for your sake, please don't do it.
Yeah.
Because we're going to reflect that back to you.
Yeah.
It's called conditional love. Give to us for your sake. In truth. Like the molestation, you gave, but you wanted something. There was a condition on it. So that's molestation, yours. But if you give yourself and you don't want anything at all, like just to be close, then it's not molestation. It's closeness and joy. Yeah. And telling the truth is the same joy. If it's not your truth, then you just say so and risk losing what you think you're going to lose. The truth is, we don't lose it. We get something better. We get ourselves back. If I think if I tell you the truth, I'm going to lose you, so I lie and I say yes, I've lost myself. And if I tell you the truth, I may lose you, but I have me. And I could have both of us. At least I have one of us. The other way, I get nothing. And then the other way, I could have both of us, or at least me. Yeah. And that lie takes us out for how many years? From the molestation? And from the little girl walking? Oh, my. Yeah.
Long time.
Long time. Look at the next one.
So I didn't write anything. It just came to 5. I need.
Okay.
I need my body to be strong and independent of others' help.
Hopeless. Turn it around. We get
I need
old.
I need
we
my
get
mind.
sick. We die. This is hopeless. Read it again the way you wrote it. That's what this workshop is about. The body and dying and aging.
I need my body to be strong and independent of others' help.
Yes. Hopeless. I mean, we can see it in hospitals and convalescent centers, and we get to see it everywhere. Hopeless. There was the most precious friend in a wheelchair that was here yesterday. And there's no way she could get around without help. And this is all a story. This isn't her. So let's move from her and just use it hypothetically. But for her to move it around, she would need help, we could say. So it would mean asking. Now, I would ask you to take me everywhere, to the bathroom, to over cobblestones, anywhere. Everywhere I want to go, I could ask and not invest in what I'm asking for. Like if you say yes, perfect. If you say no, perfect. That's how I know I'm to ask someone else. And if they say no, how do I know I'm to sit here? I'm sitting here. No matter what that would mean, it's just a sweet thing. So if I have the belief that I would ask you to help me, the only way I wouldn't get that help is the belief of I'm a bother. They don't really want to help me. They're just being nice. What, sweetheart? I should do it myself. You see? Well, I can't. You see, so that one lets that one out. Okay. They're going to see me as a bother. Okay. Having to go to the bathroom or wanting to move. Who would I be without the belief I would be asking? And when you say yes to me, I know you're telling the truth because I'm coming from a place of truth. So my experience is if I can't do it and it comes to me to do it, it doesn't matter to me whether it's my body doing it or your body doing it. I'm in a space where your body is my body. Of course you would help me. You're my body. Because I would help me and I would help you, so I don't have anything else to project. I don't have a belief that says I'm a bother. I don't have any belief around you. It's called love. If I put a belief on you, I separate myself from you, and you are my very self. So I'm free. I'm free. My body doesn't have to be any of those things that you named. It doesn't matter if it's strong and fluid and healthy or not. I have your body that's strong and healthy. I don't need this. I have yours and yours and yours and yours. Because I don't have a belief that says we're separate. I don't need this. I have you. And if you're not there, I have this truth inside of me that says, well, I'll just sit here in this chair and wet my pants and undo that. And never, ever move. What a high experience. I can undo anything that would keep me from seeing this in the way the little girl did, the little refugee that thought she had to walk.
As you know, for me, there's also and independent of other self. I mean, it's like I don't trust if I don't do it myself.
Yes.
There's no trust, and anybody else can do it for me.
Yes. Well, look where the little girl came from. You know, how could she trust? You keep undoing these beliefs, and you can find yourself asking, just joyfully, just bubbling up. Because we start to relive the childhood, or live the childhood that we never did live. We become infants in this work, just toddlers, just cry, and then take it to the world for your sake. I love when someone asks me. I get to feel so important. We love when you ask. Don't you love it when we ask you?
Yes.
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 Okay, let's look at the next.
So, I need my body to relax and enjoy peace.
Okay. Hopeless. Turn it around.
I need my mind to relax and enjoy peace.
Yes, now that will work. When your mind relaxes and enjoys peace, which is what we get on the other side of the work, on the other side of a truth, then the body follows that. Body follows mind. It doesn't have a choice. They're the same. They're one. Isn't that fine?
Yeah.
Okay, and the next?
So, I refuse to think that life is suffering only.
Yes. So if you're human, you'll probably believe it again. So I am willing to, and read it just the way you wrote it, with no change.
I'm willing to think.
Yes.
That life is suffering.
Yes.
Only.
Yes. You'll probably do it again. And it will hurt, and it will put you back into the work. So I look forward to?
I look forward to thinking that life is suffering only.
Yes. How good of you to give you a break. Yes?
Something is still struggling in there.
Yes, I see. Do you think that you may experience that belief again in your life? Do you think there's a possibility?
Yes.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Yes. I mean, war doesn't work, I hear from you. So you just gave up the battle. You just gave up World War II.
Yeah.
Good.
Until I have another one.
Yes. I look forward to the worst that can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to the worst that can happen.
Yes. This work is the end of suffering because it's the technology of how to go inside of you and find the truth that'll set you free. It's a way. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Peter.
Katie, when you just said that you wouldn't want that person around.
That's not true.
Okay.
Yeah, I want anyone around.
No, not you.
Like if someone comes to me and they're going, oh my God, oh you poor thing, oh I'll help you. You know, my mind would be, just to be with them. They may have a problem. It's a joke.
But I heard what you said, that let's say Peter was there and he was present and someone's going, oh my goodness, and they want that other person that goes, oh, you poor thing. When you were saying in the hospital, when someone came without their stuff, without their projection, wouldn't that be more inviting, or do they want, or do...
No, do you care?
No.
No. No. If I went to someone in peace,
yeah,
because it came to me to do that, and they were crying or in perceived pain, theirs, by saying, I hurt, will you help me? Or by crying, and you just move to it. You just know. But it's a comfortable thing. So you move to that, and if they look at you and they say, go away, give me the nurse. then getting the nurse is how I help. I'm not the one they can hear. Let them hear the radical. I give them what they want. I want what they want. I want them to have that. I love them. You know, what I say, you want to die, I love you that much. Who am I to take what you want from you? I'm absolute effect. There was a hand over here.
So I have a tooth right now that appears to be wanting to be noticed quite a bit, and so I work with this stuff, and I get these moments where, so I just did what you did. The pain doesn't come until I have the thought of a tooth. And there was moments there where the pain disappeared, and then the pain comes back.
Good.
So I get to, I choose to cycle around in this, and then I put my clove oil on it like last night, and because I believe in the clove oil, probably because the pain goes away eventually. So anyways, I guess I'm kind of rambling here. So
okay, here's my experience. Sanity doesn't suffer ever. Is that stuff you rub on your tooth? Is that what you were talking about? Or a pill?
Clove oil.
Clove oil. So I would put that on my tooth, and I would work on the thing that came up. Mother, father, the next door neighbor, God, the sky, whatever. I would work on that. And the next time the tooth hurts, it doesn't hurt. If that makes any sense.
Yes, it does, because I've been watching to my ability that when I'm feeling certain things or certain events just happen, the tooth starts hurting. And before the mental look at, I was noticing when I would eat certain things. Of course, and that goes back to the belief of the foods I was eating.
Yes.
So I would stop those. Success there. But it is interesting how.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I have had experiences that where my husband would say, oh my God, oh sweetheart, oh my God, let me fix it, oh my, and the man may have a problem. There's nothing that can make my hurt. Nothing. Unless it does. And that's if it does, it does. I just do the work. Not on that, not to get rid of pain. I do the work in the name of truth. And then I notice when something terrible happens, I'm the observer of it, whether it's your body or my body. It doesn't hurt when it happens to you, and it doesn't hurt when it happens to me. If it hurts when it happens to me, I'm going to project that onto you. Isn't that perfect? It shows us what we haven't healed yet. There is no pain and suffering in paradise, and this is it. In my limited infancy experience.
I really appreciate you bringing this up, Peter, because this was one of the pieces I wrote on for the weekend, and I have so much charge around it. And some of you might have seen the last couple of weeks on TV the reports of the Marines and the ritual that they do when they get their wings. It's a pin that has a half-inch tack on the back. And they have a ritual with each other where they smack it into their body. And then they had a picture where someone was even rubbing it around with that tack in the skin. And it just, I haven't been that affected by something, I don't know how long. And my number 6s, hearing everybody talk about it, I can see the reversals, but my number 6s were, I refuse to accept this as a humane and loving act, and I won't ever inflict such physical abuse on anyone. And somehow intellectually I can see that it's not humane to put my judgment on them. However, I'm not getting to the point of seeing it as a humane and loving act that they're doing that to each other.
Well, you may as well. It is. That's their story.
It's their way.
It wouldn't be if you did it.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
It works for them. It doesn't work for you. Live your truth, not ours. Don't try to live ours. When you do live ours, pro or con, you hurt. Haven't you noticed?
I did get a little piece of it when I talked to somebody who actually had participated in that kind of act, and they said there's no way for you to understand.
You're hearing it again.
Yeah, I got it.
But if go into it and be one of them. Go into the place where you wanted something so bad that something like that happened and you didn't even feel it.
It brings up sadness for me that they would want, it's their acceptance of each other, and that they'd worked so hard. It was their way of honoring each other.
Oh, my sweetie, it's what would be your way? How would you suggest that we honor it, our wings?
Somehow I see a handshake as more humane than
a handshake?
Ripping the flesh.
Go have your own celebration. I want it stuck here.
Yeah, they really got it. That's what they said. It was like it being a part of their body that they really got it.
But can you hear it? Who do you think you are? A handshake. What a lack of integrity. What a slap in the face. A handshake after all I've been through? How dare you? See, what I have accomplished is so little. A handshake.
I get it.
Can you see?
Yeah.
The way you do it, the way I do it, equal. And if I don't do it the way you do it, you go to war with it. You call it inhumane, unkind. From here, it's the opposite.
Okay.
War doesn't work, not on any level.
What about I won't ever inflict such physical abuse on anyone, though? I don't look forward.
Well, sweetheart, what are you doing for 2 weeks when you watch it? Every time you're inflicting pain and abuse on yourself. Look forward to it.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sweetheart. Yeah. Stick a pin in you. They do it once and rub it around. And you do it for 2 weeks and rub it around.
That's the thrill out of watching it.
Yes. Yes. And here's the thrill you get. It really shows us that if we're in that belief system, there's no pain to the body. And you know that. You know you're not a body. So when they do that, of course you get a thrill. They're living your truth.
Yeah.
So no wonder you want a little handshake. Good.
So my neighbor is literally trying to rip the leg off the dog.
He's trying to rip
the leg right off his dog. He's so out of control, and the dog is screaming, and I'm not supposed to have any reaction or feel bad about it.
That's not what I said. And I can tell you I'm the dog, and I'm doing fine here. How about you? I am that. You want my leg? Take it. Know yourself.
Why is the dog screaming?
Because he does. He's screaming so that you can get it. I mean, you're the storyteller of it all. Your truth is to walk up and say, excuse me, I'm not comfortable with this. Or to pick up the phone and call the animal shelter. If you're not living your truth. But if you project onto that dog what that feels like, you're insane. The way you can know it is sanity doesn't suffer.
This is hard one for you.
Be the dog. Be the dog. Would you give your legs so... Well, I can say that I would give my life or limb or whatever it is, if that's what it takes for you to have freedom. There isn't anything else. And freedom's just an interesting word.
So it's a way for me to look at my
Sweetheart,
mind.
yes. And the dog isn't the dog, you are.
Yes. Yes, it is my projection of my own pain. How I would feel it. And my belief about how you treat one another, etc., blah, blah, blah.
How do you pull our leg off when we're screaming? Like the metaphor was the thing that Jan and I were just playing with. How does she poke holes in herself? You see?
How do I scream at myself in my own mind?
Yeah, can you hear you? And how are you pulling your leg off? And when you're pulling ours, can't you hear you? You want him to stop, you stop. You can only project yourself. And if it hurts, it's simply something that you haven't looked at yet.
Well,
with this, what I call the technology of going inside with the work, it's a way now to go inside. All of us want to go in and know. And we can't get that clear or that honest. The only place we can get clear and honest is when we judge our neighbor. 20/20 vision. Judge them. Write it down. Inquire and turn it around and know yourself. It'll go as far as you want to go. It's infinite. Peter, haven't you noticed that except for that you don't care? Go inside and close your eyes.
Except for what?
Except for your belief system of how that hurts. Do you care? Personalities don't care. They want something. So you want to see what it is you want. For one thing, you want that person to stop hurting so that you don't have to look at it anymore. There are all kinds of things there.
Or I don't want to feel that myself.
Yes. Yes. So let's do anything to make that go away, even call a doctor. Yeah.
Well, speaking about pain, I'm always amazed that women can even tolerate having a baby.
They want something.
And having a baby is simple because there's no back door. Unless you get an abortion, there's no back door. So it's simple. It's when the belief system says, do I want it? Do I not? That's the hell. Labor is nothing. Thinking you have a choice, that's painful. So how do I know that the arm should be severed? It's gone. So everything else is the story you put on it to keep you from being the love that you are, the servant that you are. It's in your way. So we're pretending to be servant, calling it that, and in the heart, it's not. We wonder why it's not complete. Or why we're left a little empty afterward when we've done a wonderful service. So to go in and see, except your belief system, do you even care, is amazing self-realization. It leaves you as caring rather than caring. One hurts, one doesn't. One's your nature, one's not. One's real, one's faked. And you pull away all the beliefs and you are the same servant you were. This beautiful, warm, wonderful, wonderful servant without the belief system. You get to totally be the one you're serving. Literally. This work, for some of us, takes incredible courage. Who would I be without my beliefs? Cold, heartless, uncaring, separate, alone. These are initiations, like initiations by fire that you go through. Most of you in this room have had these experiences. It's the beginning. Yeah. So, Christy, let's do Nazis. We play. Yeah, I play. Here's your pen. Oh, thank you.
I just wanted to say something on the lighter side because you're talking about Nazis, but if you ever remember the show Hogan's Heroes when it was on, since this morning I kind of feel like Sergeant Schultz that always used to say, I know nothing.
I know nothing. And that Schultz, he had it together. Yeah.
You know, they just live inside me, and they have ever since I heard about it. And if I can exercise it in some way, Oh, and also that I was talking to my friend Adam about the camps, and he was saying that it must have been a time of incredible light and love and power and God's energy. And I was just completely shocked by that, because my idea was that God couldn't have been there. You know, God could have been in any other time in history and any other thing. But how could God have been there if 6 million people were tortured and murdered? And so the idea that that's belief is really, that there was pain and suffering. It's a hard one for me to get. So I don't like Nazis because they torture, rape, and terrorize me.
Turned around.
I don't like me because I torture, rape, and terrorize me.
Yes, in the name of people in prison camps. Who's a Nazi?
Me.
Yes, relentless.
Constant.
They did it for how many years?
I don't know, 5 or 6 maybe. I've done it to myself my whole life.
Yes. Who's a Nazi?
Me.
Yes. Relentless.
I don't like Nazis because they killed me and have left me in agony around sexual torture.
Turned around.
I don't like me because I killed me and have left me in agony around sexual torture.
Yes, and turned around again.
I don't like me because
I have left them.
I've killed me and left them in agony around sexual torture.
No, I have killed them.
I've killed them and left them in agony around sexual torture. I don't get that.
Do you think they should pay? You think they should have known better?
Yeah.
Don't you want to be the teacher of you should know better? Okay, let's look at the next one. Sweetheart, they should stop. Put yourself right back in the center of it. They should stop. Can you really know that that's true? All of you, go in deep. They should stop. Can you really know that that's true? Can you know that that is for the highest good in your arrogance? God is everything, but not World War II. It's pretty painful to think I know more than God.
It's like I can get it around other things, but on this thing...
Can you really know that it's only one question. Can you really know that it's true?
Yes.
It would be better if that were not the plan.
Yes, it would be better.
Okay. And can you really know that it's true? And I love the way you hold where you experience your truth. There's no right or wrong answer here. Can you really know that it's true? That it would be better if they stopped, if they had done it differently?
I can get one step removed from it. Like, I think, well, if I was...
just to answer the question.
Can I know it being who I am? I can't know that.
Okay. So here's one way you can know. Does it feel... First I'll ask you, what do you get for holding the belief that they should stop? Feel it. We're seeing what it looks like.
I just get like this total agony, ongoing torture.
Does it feel like your nature?
No.
Your nature is truth. If your nature is truth and that doesn't feel like your nature, you must be in a lie. You must be opposing reality, God. It's been tried.
I don't feel like that's my nature, Kitty. I feel like my nature is the scream, the torture. You know, I feel like somewhere in...
Okay, and you move from the question. That's how you do it. Just stay with the questions.
What do I get for holding?
The belief.
I get torture and screaming.
Yes. That's what you get for holding the belief.
Right.
You get to be the Nazi over and over and over and over.
Right.
And that's what it feels like to oppose reality, to oppose God. That's what you get. You want it, you got it. Me, I align. I live my nature. I resonate. I'm like my friend. I know nothing. I leave that to God's business, because when I don't, it hurts. How do I know that was for the highest good? It happened.
I can see
Who
it.
would you be if you did not hold the belief and you were inside a prison camp? Close your eyes. And you're going to the gas chamber or a torture chamber, and you don't hold the belief that they should stop. You just don't hold the belief that it's wrong. All of you going there?
I don't get words, but I get a picture of just kind of not even a form, just a kind of a glow.
Yes. Yes. You're describing my existence and yours until you put beliefs in there that oppose God, that oppose reality. It's like having a baby. If you think they should stop, you have a back door. If you think the Nazis should stop, you have a back door. You're going to suffer. But if you know there's no back door, there's peace that falls upon you. You don't ever have to worry about there being more pain than you can ever handle. Because when you're up against it, you shift. No back door. Can you hear it?
I was reading a book called Conversations with God, and it talks about Hitler being in heaven. And I was talking about this with a friend, and he was saying, how do you know, I assume there was great suffering, but what experience there was for these people? They could have had connections between themselves, connections with God. I mean, we don't know what it was like.
We can't know anything.
We can't know.
I have worked with people who have been there, done that. It's the same work you're doing, sweetheart. Only you seem to be suffering more than they did, and they've lived it. I worked with a man who was flying into one of these intensives I was doing in another area. And his mother had just published a book, and they were all in World War II, and they were Jews in Nazi Germany. And on the plane from D.C. to the workshop, he was reading his mother's story about what happened to he and his siblings and his father and his grandparents and the Nazis, the whole accounting of it, according to the mother, and what they had survived. So when he gets to the workshop, he's running late, so I just give him the thing and I say, just go sit out on the back steps, write it, and come in, we'll do it. Well, on the plane from D.C. to California, that's a nice trip with a book like that. And he's reliving it. He was there. So when he comes in to do the work, he's a little boy, and the work is on when they came to get his family, he and his family. They started brutally attacking his father, and the louder he and his mother and family would scream and tear, the louder they would laugh. And they just kept it going. And so I asked him to go inside, and as I would ask you today, to go inside and see which you would rather be. And he was the little guy on the ground being kicked and watching the father being kicked. Now, close your eyes and see the Nazi doing the kicking. Now be that. Kick the little boy. Now be the little boy being kicked. Which would you rather be, Christy?
The Nazi.
The Nazi? Okay. Any of you others?
The boy.
That was his answer.
Yeah.
He said, I would much rather be who I was than the one doing the kicking. Now, he was a survivor of it. He knew he could survive it because he had the experience. And you think you can't survive it because you don't have the experience. And that's that crucifixion thing again. He's done it for you. He can do it. You can do it. Millions of them did it. What, 3 million? 2 million? 6 million? Did it so that you can know you can do it. What arrogance to say that you couldn't. We've died and died and died 6 million to let you know that you can. You don't get it? My name is God. I'll throw in another 6 million, 12 million. I don't care. I love you that much. And I'll give you that also. I love you that much. In a lot of ways, that would be a relief.
Yeah, I mean, you can only die once.
I hear it's the suffering that you're entertaining.
Yeah. But there's some part of me that, something I'm getting out of that, doing that to me.
Oh, we've seen it. You get to live in a prison camp.
Right.
You get to make your home Auschwitz.
Right.
Yeah, we're out of there. You're the one in it.
Yeah. But why would I do that to me? I mean, from the time I was a kid.
One does the alcoholic mother, one does the this, one does the that. You do that. I mean, what's news? We all have our symbols. We hang on to this, you hang on to that. Yours isn't special.
I know I can
It's the same
see
pain.
everybody else, and then I can't see mine.
Yeah, she picked a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very impersonal.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you get the whole world to agree with that one.
Yeah, that's right.
So you picked a good one. I'll get the one we'll hold up the sermon. So who would you be if you didn't hold the belief? Your nature. I heard you say just kind of, what was the word?
I just kind of saw a glow.
A glow.
Light or something.
So you hold on to the belief so you don't have to experience yourself as that.
Well, right at that moment when I said that, I was looking at you and I just fell in love. I mean, I just looked at you and just fell in love.
And you see, I can do that. I can do that.
What do you mean?
Anything. I can do that. It's all been done. That's how I know.
You can do what?
Any of it. The torture, the rape, the pillage. I can be the Nazi. I can be the little boy. I can be you. I can be you. I've done that.
Yeah.
I am that. I'm the dog.
And that's
I can
why
do that.
I fell in love.
What, sweetheart?
And that's why I fell in love.
Yes, I'm you. You know you can do it.
Yeah.
I love when there's no back door. It's the sweetest thing.
Katie, I have a question. Is it not much more scary to be the Nazi than to be kicked?
Yes. I don't know if it's more or not.
Yeah.
My experience when
I would say more.
My experience when I closed my eyes was being the Nazi kicking. I was suffering because I was out of my truth. And being the little boy, I was just in my mind asking why. I don't understand, but I didn't experience pain. I just was in my mind about it. And when you're talking, I'm reminded of an interview that I heard with a Chinese woman who was in a Chinese concentration camp during communist takeovers, and they had killed her husband and kids and burned her house. And she was in solitary for 10 years because she wouldn't confess to the war crimes. And if she confessed, they'd let her out, and she could at least sit at a table and have human contact. But she wouldn't confess because she said, if I confessed to something I didn't do, I would have lost myself. I would have been out of my truth.
I read that book, yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. And they asked, did she hold any contempt towards them? And she said no, because if I were to hold anger, then they would have won. They would have taken my ability to love everyone.
Yeah.
I just, it's interesting how this work works. I just recall that when my father was hitting me, that I didn't feel pain. And that it's sort of the nickel dropped here that I have hit me far worse and far more and far painful than my father ever could. So it makes sense that the little boy, I'd much rather be the little boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if you go back to the point of where she struck you and it didn't hurt, and you find the point where you thought he shouldn't do that, you find the point where it did hurt. You said it perfectly. Look at the next one.
I want the Nazis to release me from the torture.
Hopeless. Turn it around.
I want me to release me from the torture.
Yes. And turn it around again.
I want me to release the Nazis from the torture.
Yes.
It's kind of becoming like a cartoon.
Yeah.
I'm not connecting with it anymore, really.
Yeah, that's what it has been, a cartoon.
It's one I believe.
A movie, an illusion.
I want the Nazis to stop torturing me with fear of sex.
Turned around.
I want me to stop torturing me with fear of sex.
Yes. You sit here in this wonderful free body, just fluid and beautiful, and you have those thoughts inside of you and your torture internally, and you have everything except a mind that thinks in truth sometimes. A mind that gives itself fluidity and freedom sometimes. I just love that we've met, Christy.
Me too. There's just this feeling that I don't know, I'm crying about it, but just that there's a way out of this. You know, I just never thought there was really a way out of it.
Yes.
And it just seems like it could be like that simple.
Yes.
If I let go.
Yes. This gets you a lot. This pain gets you a lot. Gets you a lot of attention, a lot of validation.
It does. It's just like my story, what I've been doing my whole life.
Yeah. Who would you be without it? In a free world. I go to Germany. Oh, my. For those of you that haven't been in that country, whether you have or not, with a still mind, everywhere you look, I can't look anywhere in that country where there aren't angels. There are angels on the buildings. There are angels done within the buildings. I mean, that whole country is flowers. Oh, and the people, so dear. And I talked to a woman, the woman I stayed with, and she says that she was taught early as a child in the school system about how terrible, she's German, and how terrible her race was and how terrible it was for them to do that. And they must never forget. Can you hear it? She was bad from the beginning. She was a torturer and a murderer from the beginning. Here in this room, at one of the workshops, there was the most incredible young man named Joe, and he'd just flown in from Germany. And for any of you, yeah, you were here, Rhonda, and Rosie, you were here?
With Bob?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, here's this young man, and he barely speaks English. Just barely speaks English. And then here is Bob, this man who was there in Nazi Germany that couldn't forgive. So he did this work. And we got several men to hold Bob back. How old would you say Bob was?
Bob's 72.
72. And we got several men to hold him back while he told this incredible, sweet young man who happened to be German, you know, and big and tall. And, yeah, he could be the perfect picture of a young, healthy, strong Gestapo. The whole stereotyped image. And there's this innocent, sweet, And then we're getting him to tell Bob, lick my boots, because Bob couldn't get anger. And so finally Bob became so, and Joe, it was the most painful thing for him to do. I mean, here's this gentle spirit, and we're getting to yell, lick my boots. And several men were holding Bob back, and finally he started telling Joe, as a Nazi, everything that he really felt from inside of him. And he just started screaming, and he left bruises on several of the men. He became so strong. We advised him to try to kill him. And so Bob's yelling, I hate you, and all of these words, and a lot more than I hate you. And then he just broke into, I love you. I love you. I love you. And this young man just broke into tears. I love you. I love you. And so we got to see the healing. It was just very sweet. Who are we on the other side of our beliefs? One, I'm your brother. We've been confused, that's all. I'm a Nazi, I'm confused. I'm a Jew, I'm confused. My only guilt is I don't know another way. I'm confused. There's no guilt. There's just no way of knowing the truth. Can you know it? You think I should know it as a Nazi? Can you know it? I don't know how. I need a teacher. All you teach me is hatred and fear and terror. You continue to perpetuate it. Heal yourself. You live it.
Being like we.
Is there anyone here? Let's look at the next one.
I did Nazis should leave me alone, right? I can't remember, but I should leave me alone.
Yes. And again?
I should leave Nazis alone.
My mind, yes.
Like this totally absurd movie. Like I keep going to this movie that's torturing me. I won't see any movies with any violence in it.
Look forward to it.
All I have to do is close my eyes. Turn on the reel. Nazis shouldn't maim or torture women.
Is it true? It's just your theory. How do we know they should? They did.
Right.
So much for that. So much for that should. You want it to. It's like walking up to a wall and just banging your head on it over and over and over and over and over. That shouldn't have happened. Well, it did. Mm-hmm. And you're still doing it.
Yeah.
So turn it around.
I shouldn't maim or torture Nazis.
And I shouldn't blame and torture.
I shouldn't maim and torture me.
Yes, honey. Yes.
So when the pictures come up, I'm calling it Nazi because I don't know what else to call it, but it's something in there. When the because I'm real visual. The pictures come up. What do I do with that? In terms of the work?
Name them. Write them down.
In terms of the work?
Yes. Name them.
You mean just write the work out on what they're doing?
Yes.
Do one picture so I can understand.
Good. One of the pictures I have is of being on the rack, being like we.
Is there anyone here that hasn't had that picture? Interesting.
I'm not special. Oh, no.
Yeah, Yes, you are, but not for that.
So yeah, the picture comes up that of being immobilized, not being able to move. Ask. You?
Yes.
I've been to a torture situation.
You've been tortured?
Yeah. Give her the mic.
Where's the mic? Here.
Now we have an expert in the room. Done incredible work on torture.
I've been tortured, and I've been told when that's all over, you're gonna be killed. And I was just laying there, and I didn't know what happened. I was just laying there, and it was like a sound like ooh, like that, and the people would say I was numb, but it was really, the torture started afterwards.
Yes, that's what you found.
Replaying it was when it started?
Well, yeah, when I went to therapy, and then a big story.
And she was what?
I was tied.
And
I had like electro stun gun shocks and stuff, but that was 1.5 hours. But afterwards, the pain lasted almost a year.
The physical pain or the emotion?
Any pain.
You see, she would project what that was, and it would happen again. Just like if you think of a lemon, you can taste it. So it was so radical that she would think it, she would project it and experience it again physically.
When it was over, I was still in that sound, in that motion.
Yes.
I was hearing a radio. It was a couple of minutes afterwards, and I hear the words. It couldn't make sense to me. I hear words. I hear a man speaking news or whatever, and I knew there was a man speaking, and I knew there were words. But I didn't know. I tried to understand that had a meaning. He says something, and it was only sound to me. And of course, I thought I lost my mind, but now I know different.
What happens was when we did the work is during the torture she shifted to another place. And when they were torturing or they would stop, she would project they were going to do it again, and that's where it started again. Wasn't that what we found?
Yeah.
And during the torture, she would shift to another place. That's what we do. And then it stops, and we project it's going to start, and that's where the torture begins. And we heard it with the son. We've heard it. I mean, that's the way it is. For a year, we project it. They're not even torturing us. I'm doing that. Okay? We're just looking at cause and effect here. So this forgiveness is medicine, but we don't know how to do it, and now we have the work. So all those years, she lived like you did. You see, just projecting and not knowing how to stop. So, sweetheart, you want to say something else?
The pain came in when I said, how long it's going to take? And the pain came in when I thought, if the trigger's going to go, I had that on my head, the gun. How will that feel?
Yeah. So it's not the gun on the head that they were going to blow me away with. It's the projection of, is it going to hurt?
Yeah.
Or that it's going to hurt? Or is it going to really kill me? Or am I just going to hang out here? And they're going to have to shoot me twice. Whatever it would be. But the projection of it is the torture. Without beliefs, it's okay. You do this work, you undo beliefs. If something like that comes into your life, You can look into the eyes of the other, and what you experience is compassion. That's all.
I didn't think this was going to come up. I used to torture. I had a son that, probably a couple of times, but I remember one time in particular that when he was young, 3, 4, I remember once, arguing with him and trying to get him to do what I wanted, and pulling him downstairs, and, he just wouldn't stop, and he was on the floor. I remember kicking him a few times.
Yes.
And I have been tortured by that. To this day, I've worked on this a lot, and but I know that when we went into our space about being the Nazi or the child, I was the Nazi. I was real clear. Yeah. That's the place that I went into, and that's been my torture, and that's the other side of that. My own sadness and how I beat myself up for over and over again.
Yes.
For that act.
And even when you were doing it, can you remember wanting to stop and not being able to?
Wanting to stop, not being able to, and the part that I probably tortured myself is about there was a certain part of me that wanted to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There was a certain, like feeling righteous, and it's like a high. It's like when people rage, there's like a, it almost feels like having just taken a big hit of methamphetamine. You feel like, so this is so clear and you're so righteous and this is the thing to be doing now. Mm-hmm. And
he'll be better for it.
And he'll be, just so.
Mm. So, sweetheart, can you find a place where you have been a Nazi?
Yeah, I was clearly happier being the Nazi also, and laughing. The fact that you said there, I said, well, I'd rather be laughing than crying. Mm. Yeah. I'd rather be in control than the victim, and yet what I'm doing with this is I'm making myself the victim. I'm always the victim. Yes. I'm a constant victim.
Yes.
But what I want to get to with this is that this stuff I don't live with this all the time, but this comes up around sexuality for me. And it feels unreasonable because I went through a lot of work. I did a lot of work on incest, and I never had memories, so I couldn't pin it on that. So I couldn't blame it on anybody. I had those feelings around my father, but I couldn't. So that's when it gets triggered, and then.
Sweetheart, if you have no memory of incest, it didn't happen. How simple is that?
Well, my story is I think it happened when I was an infant, so then I can be a victim again.
It's the Nazi thing.
Right.
How do we know it didn't happen? You have no memory of it.
Right.
The end.
So
you know how many people I work with that are positive they've been incested and have no memory of it? It didn't happen.
So I'm trying to explain, I see that it's me wanting to tell a story, to explain to myself why I have this feeling of total abject terror when, not all the time, but when somebody's attracted to me. They don't even have to, it doesn't even have to be close to sex.
You have to believe you'd have to live without all of that, without that story.
But I had the fear before I had the story. I feel like I did anyway.
Well, we all are afraid of movies. And then you put you in it to become it. To become a part of the movie. If it's a great movie, you get to become an actress in it. And you get to really play and say, and I have no memory of it. It was so terrible. That's what it assumes.
Right.
Crazy making. There's a huge payoff for it, Christy. Who would you be without it? My goodness, just free.
Well, what I'm getting to is free to say yes or no.
Yes.
It's really that simple.
Yeah.
It's just yes or no. And I've been playing with that, and it's really... It's so
no more complicated than that.
It's just like... That's all, I don't have to find the reasons and past lives and karma and reincarnation, It's
Isn't that fine? Just get real now.
Yeah.
let's look at the next one. My.
Nazis are cruel, maniacal beasts.
Turned around.
I'm a cruel, maniacal beast.
Yes, when I think they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're me. They're you.
I know. I'm
so far.
And then I started feeling like I was going to go into crying again about that. Why do I think that of myself? And it's just another story.
Just another story. Good catch. The blind can see.
Nazis will kill and torture me over and over again.
Turn around.
That's it. Except for the sixes.
Good. So let's hit the sixes.
I will never again think of sex as torture.
I'm willing to.
I'm willing to think of sex as torture.
Yes, because it's going to scare you again. And then you can sit down and get real again. You know, get real. Is it happening now? You just look where you're sitting. I must be insane. It feels okay to me. It must be a movie. I mean, this is good. Even if I'm in a prison camp, you know, walking toward whatever they would have me walk toward. If I don't project it, this is good. Let me see, I'm walking here. There are people around. This one thinks he's bad. This one thinks he's good. This one thinks there's a problem. This one is, you know, I just be walking here. That's all. That's it. Nothing happens until I say so. And if I've done my work, there's nothing to happen, and there's no one that it's happening to.
I just got this memory. I've been listening to these tapes. This woman that's a healer, and she's telling a story about Nazis, and this woman who was sexually tortured in prison camps. Or this was what her story was anyway. And I erased the part about describing what actually happened to her. So now I listen to these tapes, and then there's this blank. It's like my imagination filling in the blank.
Oh, that's
much
a good
worse than it's exactly the work.
That's a good one. That's the story we heard from Corinne.
Yeah. So every time I hear it now, I torture myself much more with filling in the blank than if I'd left the story on the tape.
Yeah. Okay.
I look forward to thinking of sex as torture.
Yeah. So go 4 up. 4 up.
4 up. Nazis shouldn't maim and torture women.
No, one up from that. One more.
Nazis should leave me alone.
Okay. I'm willing to have the story of Nazis not leaving me alone. Some of those are really nice number 6s. One of them really fell into it. So you might go back and play with them. You know, all of them.
Nazis will kill and torture me over and over again?
Yes.
I'm willing to have Nazis kill and torture me over and over again?
Yes, in my mind, because I'll probably do it again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It really seems silly.
Yeah. Yes, until we can see that it's just an illusion, just a dream. It hurts. And we can see that it's not real. Just like children waking from a dream, waking from a nightmare.
I really appreciate the song. Yes. I appreciated what you said about. I appreciate you talked about this because I didn't realize I had this much of a charge in that subject. But I had tears in my eyes when you told me that in Germany they teach the young people about what happened during the Holocaust. I mean, I've had such an upset with it. I mean, I wouldn't drive in a German car, let alone buy one. Any Jew who has a German car, I think the worst despicable thing. My sister is living with a German, yet he's the most wonderful person. Edgar and he are like the 2 nicest people I've ever known in my life. Yet they do relationships courses here and twice a year for months on end in Germany. And I've somehow or other judged my sister. It's like I'm trying to figure out, what am I getting from this? The war's over. And it was still going on in my head, and at least
the war's not over until it's over inside of you.
Yeah, I'm starting to free up that now.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I've been hanging on to some stuff that just
a story.
Yeah.
In this, can you know that it's for? I used to do a meditation with this. So close your eyes and we'll see if it comes back. You've spent many, many, many lifetimes here. Thousands and thousands. So now you're in heaven. And you've done everything but this. You've undone everything but this one little thing left. And you've tried every experience. You've died. You've been tortured. You've lost your mother, your father, your children. You've been to war. You've been a guru. You've been everything in the world. But there's this one little piece that you're not complete with. And you'll do anything for peace. Anything for freedom. So, in heaven, you can pick any scenario you would like and come back to earth and experience that. So you can come up with the peace that you come back to live that would give you that. And you've tried everything. So you come up with a scenario of a Nazi Germany. And you know that will give you the last piece, and you won't have to come back anymore. You've tried everything else, so you have to come up with something really big. So you can't do it alone. You have to have more than 6 million people join in on this. You have to have the whole world. So you say, this is what I need. And you go throughout heaven asking all the angels, would you be the Nazis? And it's going to look like this. And all of the angels shudder and they say, no, I can't do that. And they say, would you be the Jews? Would you come down and play that role? And all the angels shudder and they say, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. And you go through the whole scenario. And you say, would there just be a Hitler? Would there just be a man that would do this whole cause? Just one of you that would come back as Hitler and be the cause. And millions and millions and millions of years went by in heaven, and no one would come forward. And finally, it became obvious to one that was totally free that they could come back, even though they didn't have to, that they would come back as Hitler for your sake, because that angel loved you that much. He would suffer that. And then news got out all over heaven. And then people came forward and said, I'll be your mother that will be tortured for your sake, so you can get this thing. One came in and said, I'll be your father. And heaven was so moved that they started pouring in the angels. I'll be the Nazis. I'll be the Jews. I love you that much. Then it was made known that there was more to this story, that when we came back into this earth experience, that we would have no recollection of it. That we would really believe that it was real. That it wasn't just roles that were taken on, we believed them. There would be terrible suffering and a way to remember. And everyone considered it, all the angels considered it. And they looked at you and they said, we love you that much. We'll make the contract. So the contract was made. So that we can come together today and remember. We'll do anything for love. Anything to experience our nature. And we do. It's a contract. Can you remember? That's just the way it is. God. And you've forgotten. Yes, honey.
When we were talking about the torture earlier, and I remember when I was a kid, I remember a situation where I think I was 15 and I had a girlfriend who had a dog, and it felt like the dog was getting more attention than I was, and it angered me to no end, and I beat the living daylights out of that dog. And what I saw looking tonight was that I was in so much pain at the time that that's all I could do for myself.
Yes.
And I saw that the me who I am today this moment of thought, the me that I am today would die for that little boy so that he wouldn't have to have that pain.
Yes, sweetheart. Yes. You just became the dog. Yes. Yes. That's the truth of it. We have the same experience, my friend.
The night before and last night, I believe I was thinking with the angels, and we were the angels.
Yes.
And I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yes. Yes. Reality.
When my eyes were closed, and the one incomplete thing in all the past lives and experiences that I ever had, that I never had, that I want to have, that I would give up everything for, I realized it's so simple. It's just by choice to have a meaningful, intimate relationship with my children and with whoever I'll be interacting with in my future dating experiences. I've never had a relationship of honesty. I've never had myself there. I was never there for that. I realize this now. I've tortured them by not being there. I've been the workaholic. I've kept myself from feeling. I was afraid to be tortured by the hurts you could experience if you let yourself be close and open with someone. So just like I've been torturing myself in a different way. And unlike I didn't know it.
And it's all just a story.
I just wanted to share that at one point, I think I talked about when I witnessed my brother being beaten by my Uncle George and about how I carried the pain forward. And I spoke to him on the phone about that not too long ago, and it was really interesting that he has had no pain from that at all, which I think kind of ties into the whole Nazi thing. I was the one that was in pain over his beating. He had the beating and moved on in his life and was angry.
This was such a big thing with Ruth, how she would do that inside of her over how Uncle George would beat her brother. Mm-hmm. And here, it wasn't his thing, it was hers.
Yeah, I mean, he let go of it. I mean, we were talking, he couldn't believe that I carried that way.
Yeah.
So many times the person who's getting the beating, it's over, it's done. They've forgotten about it.
We get confused too. Like we see one beating and we think it's every day. Because the beliefs go on and we have to keep them perpetuated. So we have to get them bigger and it's crazy making. It's not reality.
The prayer that I said this morning on the desert, I have said thousands of times. And you said to me, Katie, and I almost didn't hear it, I know you were saying reverse it. So I said it again the same way, which was to create duality between me and something else. And afterwards, inside myself, I repeated it completely reversed with ideas like, who am I to say I am Lord? Who am I to say I am the day star of my revelation? And yet, after I said it, I wanted to just jump all over that desert and rejoice. And I'm thinking, for how many years did I say a prayer that got me nothing but division, but duality? And I said this prayer, and it was me. I wake up in my shelter. I wake up in my space. And it was...
Would you continue it, sweetheart, so we could all experience it with you?
I have awakened in thy shelter, O my God, and it behooveth me who seeketh that shelter to abide within the sanctuary of thy loving kindness and the stronghold of thy defense. Illumine my inner being with the day star of thy revelation, even as thou dost illumine my outer being with the morning light of thy favor.
So when you hear these incredible prayers, as you hear them, this virus that we're all getting, being here, this virus we call the work, where everything is interpreted differently inside of us. You could hear it, and if you would do the reversal again.
It's a challenge. Okay. Yeah. I have awakened in my shelter, and it behooveth me that seeketh that shelter to abide within the sanctuary of my defense and the stronghold of my defense. Illumine my inner being with the day star. I illumine my inner being with the day star of my revelation, even as I illumine my outer being with the morning light of my favor. Verily, I am my helper and my Lord.
I'm just so aware of the sweetness. I am in a wonderful, joyous place. This morning, I was so aware of everything and so excited by the possibilities.
I just couldn't contain myself almost. I was so excited by the possibilities. And I went to eat at Coco's, and I had these hash brown potatoes, and they were so outstanding that I complimented the chef on those potatoes. And it was this biscuit that tasted like heaven. And I thought to myself, one of these days it will be important for me to eat pure, wonderful, live food. But until I get to that day, I am going to live in ecstasy for everything that I experience, everything that I put in my body, everything. I am going to live in ecstasy in that experience. And I was desiring to hear from you yesterday who you are. And you know, I picked up a book that I read every single day. And I read it. It was there. And it is pure potentiality. And I realize it's who I am. And each and every day I get one step closer to living it completely. And so I am in such joy. And I am just moved to tell you. And you hear that I'm moved because the gift you get as a master teacher to be able to touch you is so precious, and to be so available is so precious. You are such a gift, and I thank you so much for that. It's so sweet. Thank you.
Welcome.
So, sweetheart, could we hear Peter's song again?
Oh, sweetheart, playing our song.
We come together in a circle here today to find the heart when we love and when we pray, from where we discover the endless source of grace, from where we meet
The resurrection.